Ah, the hair I did a beautiful speech. I was so happy with myself. Of course it's muted. I love my computer. Love it, love it, love it. I need to drop it in the river and get a new one. You know, I may go to the beach in a couple days. Maybe I should take my computer with it. Just. Where's your scream? I don't know. Let me find it. Let me find your voice. You need a voice. It's just gonna be one of those days. Always a noob, always a beginner. Nothing works, you know? That's how it works. But I hope you guys, what I was trying to say when I was really muted was that I hope you guys are having a wonderful, awesome Friday, and I'm glad you guys are here to roll some marbles today. I look forward to it. And if you're not having an awesome, wonderful Friday, I hope it gets better from this point forward. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Lady Rain, you have permission to scream again. It's Shane, you have permission to make your grandioso appearance. Welcome. Welcome, mods. Welcome. Welcome, Michigan. Welcome, lurkers, listeners. There you go, there you go. Perfect. Just been enjoying a few days off and dreading the work this weekend. Oh. Yeah, I've had a few days off myself. I've just been relaxing for a change and doing some other work, of course. I don't know how to stay not busy. But I'm here and I'm not looking forward to Monday either. Oh, jeez. But at least yours is the weekend though. Ugh. Yeah, exclamation play if you want to get your marble on the track. Exclamation play. The map is up. Give me a second. There it goes. There we go. It's just being slow, but it's up. And there we go. So you can see the KimonoKat marble. Rally, thank you for the sub. Thank you, 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 thank you for the subs and the loves. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much, 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 much appreciated. So cute. Thank you for the hype, Michigan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. We've got this marble looking track tonight. Marble and rainbow looking track tonight. So check it out. All different colors. We're gonna do some of the custom maps that are made by different streamers. Different streamers have made these maps, so we're gonna check a few of those out tonight. So we're not doing the standard maps. Oh my god! Oh, you got denied or it broke the bot, I don't know. It just went re and then it quit. It was just like, nope. You're not getting that. Thank you for the 34 months, Rain. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you again for the 15, Cali. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wonder if it'll let me replay that and it'll actually work. I don't know. That's just like weird that it did that. Let's try.
Ray EE.
Ray EE. That's all it's gonna do. I know, you tried. That's all it's gonna do though. It just re I was like, nope. You're not doing all that. I'm like, okay, okay. Okay, let me that way. You don't have to do all that. There we go. I'm gonna move the text down here. Chat. There we go. You're glad. You're glad it didn't do all those E's? E. I can do it for you. E. Okay, let me come into voice chat. Alright, let me go in here. What? What, Michigan? You don't want those 500 E's going E,
No, I
E, E,
don't.
E,
No,
E,
he
E, E, E.
was rude. I'm
No,
really
no,
upset
no.
about it.
Poor Rain. Oh, I'm so sorry. You tried. You tried.
Guess there's
I
a
don't know
character
why.
limit.
Messages or something. I don't know.
You need
The
to tell me
bot
the
was
character
no.
limit so I know.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. Good question. Probably not. Probably half that, I would guess.
Probably.
I
I use Twitch's
for the
character
videos.
limit.
Thank you,
I
Crowley
thank you.
literally
underscore
just
pro
held E
underscore
until it
chaired.
stopped.
X5.
First door.
Bippity boppity boo.
Cat
I wish I
door.
could play, but I have to leave for work foo.
No, work.
Or-
No, work is gross. Good luck, Thor. Good luck, good luck, good luck. Thank you for the 29 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Or I wanted to.
I wish you could hang out and play too.
I wanted to wax your ball. Or unbelievable.
Yeah, Michigan wanted to help you out, Thor.
I wanted to tell you how to, smoothly go down the trail.
How to polish your marble
Yes,
well
yes.
so that you
He
can.
was having issues last night, and I was just.
Oh, he was having issues last night, and you helped him out.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I helped him
Okay.
out.
Okay. Oh no, all the quotes and links. Oh, 62. Did you break it? There it goes.
Would be that one. Did I have 63 too?
I don't know if we have a 63 quote yet or not. Get close though.
I finished too soon.
I only had 68. Oh, yeah, you gotta get 69 points to win in golf.
There we go.
Rain, I can see your sense of close. Oh, God. Yes. Oh, memories. Code 56. Oh, did y'all break it now?
no.
And they broke it.
Maybe we don't have a quote before.
Thank you, Thor.
No.
Thank you again for that sub. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the 29 months,
Roses.
guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I like it. when I
56
like
is
one.
roses.
Oh. I like it when it lasts longer. I'll see you. Good night, Thor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good luck at work.
I went for
Oh.
cold Baja Blast, but I grabbed a flat, watered down Coke from yesterday.
Ew, gosh, that would have freaked me out. Would have been like, "Ugh." That was not the drink I was looking
I
for.
drank it out of a straw, so I couldn't spit it out. Had to deal with it.
Alright, start the timer on this race, and then we'll go from there. I think it's already set to 1. Oh, I don't want one. That one.
OMG 46 less than 3.
Thank you, Shane, for start. Oh, thank you, Legs and Shane, for starting the hype train, guys. Thank you for the sub for the 46 months. Holy cow! Right? Jeez, whiz.
I found a new tarot
Spicko
deck.
cheer.
Long time.
X100.
Thank you for the 100 pennies, Shane. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Desi, welcome to the stream. You made it in. Got 1 minute to get your marble on the track, guys.
The D&D tarot deck.
Oh, that's cool. I think I've seen that online. I was like, that's
Right?
perfect for creating your D&D character. Is that what the deck's for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
it's
that.
It's a tarot deck. It's just a
Oh.
tarot deck.
Crowley
There's one
underscore
actually
pro
for
underscore
creating
cheer.
your
X5.
character now too, like a deck that you just pull cards and you create your character or something, and that's what you get stuck with.
Oh, geez, that'd be
I'll have
so
to
much
look
fun.
for that again. I think I put it on a wish
Yeah.
list somewhere, like on my phone. Like I'll have to look, but I saw that somewhere where you could create it. I
No,
want to
this
say
is
it
a
might have been
tarot
like
deck.
a Cards Against Humanity D&D deck or something.
Oh, so I got
I don't remember. But thank you guys! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi,
Put your kitty
Monstrosity.
puzzle. And I found a new Hot Wheels Camaro, so
Drink water. Okay. Ooh, a Hot Wheels Camaro. You found another?
I found a new one. Like it's a white one.
Nice, a white Camaro. Sweet.
Yeah.
I was looking the other day. I was like, I should look for one for her. I was looking just out of
I know I haven't
curiosity.
had a whole lot of success this year. I don't really have a whole lot of the
Like,
Camaros
like,
this
like,
year.
thank you for the lyric legs and thank you for the drink water, Mistrosity. Jeez, that's so bright. Yo, there we go. Gotta get the names here. Oh! I've not kept track of who's in the lead. Michigan's in the lead. But I just passed him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I let you.
I don't know. We gotta bust through these blocks here. Desi, come let us out. Save us.
Come on, I'm gonna
Desi's
push
out
you
trying to
so
help.
we can get.
Shane's trying to help. Oh! Crowley busted through. Busted through the cubes. Oh no, we
Definitely
split
not
up.
first now.
We split up.
I'm very
Desi and
close to
Michigan are going this way. Lady Rain and Kat and Shane are on the other side.
Well, this is the cool way.
Is it Crowley? Crowley's taking the lead. Look at that. Go, go, go. Closely followed by Desi. Where am I at? How does it say I'm in the lead? Now Shane's in the lead? No.
Well, it's because you know how. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way the thing is. It's Crowley. Oh, not anymore. So we get stopped by the blocks again. How does this work? Do we just like fly here? Do we like
Very
once
careful.
these things dissolve, do we just like fly up? Oh, it's clear. Clear. Ooh. Oh, that's a fancy Steve.
Oh.
Desi ain't putting up with it. Desi's flying through. Oh crap, I used the wrong command. Oh no! What did you use?
Start.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
instead
sorry,
of
yeah.
play. So you meant to join the race and you failed. Oh no.
Now put.
There'll be
finish.
other races. It'll be okay.
Yeah, put finish in, and then you'll finish first. I think that's how. it
Okay.
works.
Yeah. Exclamation finish and then you get
Yeah,
first
yeah,
place, right?
That's. I think.
Oh, this thing's got little pegs that pop up and down. Catapult you. Ooh, this looks cool. Elevator type deal. The staircase. Oh, Desi and Kat. Look, 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 look. Here. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Ah! I cheated! I tripped Jesse. A wild Spenda appeared, guys. Catch Spenda if you want to catch Spenda.
Oh, I love Spenda. Spenda's adorable. You know, every Spenda's different. Their pattern is different.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Spenda is in,
Oh yeah, it's
Sun
the
and
white
Moon.
one with the spindles. Yeah, I think there's like 8 different versions you can get in Pokemon Go or something.
yeah.
Thank you guys for the hype train. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Collecting an emote, guys. We got an emote. Level 1 emotes. Woohoo! And then,
I got
Okay.
a dolphin with sunglasses on.
Yeah, me too.
choo-choo. I'm sitting here trying to multitask and my brain's like, yep, not doing it. Not doing it. Not
Oh.
multitasking.
Just remove your brain, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Right? Who needs to think? So cute! I like it, I like it. Bro! More
Bruh.
mods. Welcome!
What?
Welcome. Bruh. I caught Spenda.
Oh, I was like, bruh. I was really confused that it's Sixer.
Yeah. Bruh. Yo. Okay, we're gonna go.
Time to add my cards to my
Race
thing.
menu. Go, go, go.
Go lay down. No one loves you. No.
And
I
we're
love
going to
that
go
game, so it's
to
on.
community maps, and we're gonna go check out another rainbow one. I'm feeling like rainbow maps. Oh. This one has a 50% elimination rate, and it's rated 100%. The one we just did was called Fun Rainbow. Try to keep you guys on the track, so.
No, we should do the 99% elimination rate.
Oh my god, no! Only 31 people, 31% of viewers like that track. This tells you how many people liked it based on 0 to 100%, and this tells you how many were eliminated. Don't run, Shane, don't run.
I tried to catch him before he ran. But
you
got out
just
there.
missed him.
Yeah, you got out there pretty quick.
This one's called Beware Moving Rainbow. Let's check out the Beware one. Beware! Beware! Ooh, this is cool. Look at this.
Oh, I didn't know there was
Look
a
at
mobile
those
app now.
colors. Lucky! Yep. That looks cool. I like it. Can I change which skin? 1-7. Start. 1 minute 40 seconds to get your marble on the track, guys. That's quite a long time, but we give people a chance to join.
If you can't get that, then,
Right? Are you truly playing? Are you truly listening or watching? Great.
That's rude, Mono. You caught Spinda and I didn't.
I know. It's terrible. I'm bad. Play! Exclamation play! Yes! Oh! My commands aren't working! There we go, what the heck? It wouldn't work for me either! The buttons on my stream deck are being funky. It's like, what? I just told you to push the button. We have a noise notification. I remember when I used to do a noise notification at every time there was like, I don't know, 30 seconds to get in the race or something. I think I used to do one. I don't remember what noise it was though. Oh, I think it was a Wookiee. I used to go, I used to have a Wookiee button and I pushed the Wookiee noise
Oh, yeah,
to let everybody know. You hear the Wookiee, you better get in here because you know you're running out of time. Now I'm just gonna like burn people and stuff. Cause Michigan runs away with his butt on fire.
well, yeah, it gave me some.
You're supposed to just stop, drop, and roll, not run.
No, I wanted to build a fire so I can go faster.
Yeah, you look like Ponyta. You have a flaming tail of beauty. I'm gonna be silly now. I'm ad-libbing some D&D here for you guys.
I'm joking, you're not.
What? What did you say?
I said he's a flaming asshole.
Oh no! Oh no! Burn! My
Yeah,
little
it is a
sister
burn.
has
It's not the
slowly
truth.
and surely started playing more video games, so I'm trying to convince her to pick up one of the Let's Go Pokemon games. Oh, she would love that. Yes, let's go, Eevee. Nessie is exploring our rainbow track here. Beware of moving rainbows. Yes, those are the moving rainbows. Steves. Double Steves.
That's rude. Can't ban me. I'm a mod.
Oh, Michigan's like, no, we're gonna pass Nessie out. We're not doing this. Oh! Michigan! You died! Rip?
Yeah, I did.
Need some rips in chat.
Deserved it.
Hello! Hi! Welcome. But yeah, no. Uh-oh. Monstrosity just died too. And we lost. When did we lose Crowley? I missed that one. Shane's still hanging in there. Rain's still hanging in there. Desi's still hanging in there.
Pepper's still be hanging in there.
I don't think anybody's supposed to die on this track. I think it was like 1%. You guys are like proving it wrong or something.
Well, we are different.
No, I don't want to fall. It's like so confused because it's so transparent.
I'm only
Watching.
on alcohol, but it feels like I need to be on others.
It is a little trippy. It is a little trippy.
No.
I got connections.
The Plinko
Yeah,
spot.
I don't think I want
Yeah,
to.
I did miss it, Midget Monstrosity. And Semi-Diaz. Welcome, 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 welcome. I hope I said that right again.
Insidious.
I-
It's like
I give
Insidious, but
Yeah.
Insidious.
Semi-Diaz. Uh-oh. Shane's already in the bowl! He teleported. I swear. Desi and Rain are just hanging out back of the pack. Desi's got the
Kimono,
wolf, so that's appropriate.
Tomorrow, you didn't join?
No, apparently I didn't, even though I hit the button.
You did not.
I think
hit
I
the
changed
join
my
button.
skin, but I didn't hit the
You changed
button.
the skin and then
Yeah,
didn't
you
hit
can't-
join.
yeah.
I didn't want to put in my cheat codes this time, so
Yeah, it
I
makes
didn't
sense.
join.
Yeah.
You
That makes
know,
sense.
because I would win. No, yeah, no. Here I am pushing the noises, roar, and salty button to get your guys' attention to put your marble on the track, and I didn't join myself. Yeah, terrible.
Shame.
Congratulations! Where is Rain? There.
Just taking my time.
Apparently, you
She loves all
got
the colors.
eliminated. Alright, let's go back. Click. Alright, community maps. I wish there was a way to set up like a royale with the community maps. There we go. Oh, let's see. 0 ratings, 100% ratings. Let's see. Any subject you want? Like maybe more. I don't know. Let's just do some more rainbows. Let's see. We find one with like a. Oh, when I do that, it takes it away. Dang it. I like ones that keep you guys on the track.
We don't want to be on the track.
You want to fall off again?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I want to see how many of us can fall off.
Super rainbow carts? Ooh, that sounds fun. Sounds like Mario Kart or something. What do you think? I guess I have to select my skin each time unless I make my skin number 1. And then I hit join. Then this one looks like water. Oh wow. We're gonna get shot over there. Prepare to get shot out of this thing. Excavation play, guys. Black cat ears, I got you, I got you.
Where are the ones I
Which
got?
ones you want? Let's see. This one or this one? A or B? Oh, there's A and there's B. The fuzzy ones With sparkles or the spiked ones? You pick A or B. There we go. We got 43 seconds, guys. 43 seconds to get your marble on the track. I'm gonna burn somebody. Shane's turn to get burnt. Then we're gonna see as people fly out of here. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it.
Well, I'm gonna win, so I don't want.
Poor Shane. Welcome, Mission Strassi. Oh, which one did you want? Send me Diaz. Which one? Or I'll pick one. I'll pick one. There. And if you want the other one, let me know. There we go. Oh, you licked Sixer.
Yeah, it's not the first time.
How does he feel about that?
Sure he
No,
loves
we
it.
teleported? Teleport? That was quick. I missed it. I think we
Well,
teleported.
at least we teleport there. Then we don't get launched.
Yeah. Oh, look at those beams. It reminds me of the beams in Golf with Friends that when you hit them, things turn solid. Do they turn solid though? No. We just. Oh, you turn into fireworks when you fall off? That was cool.
That's so cool.
Everybody
Oh my
fell
god,
off
I'm
like
the only
rain.
surviving one.
This is supposed to be 100% survival. Maybe it's 100% fall off? I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
must be.
No, it was 98% fall
98% fall off.
But
Yes.
we
Oh,
are
so I'm reading the
100%.
numbers backwards instead of picking the fall off mark.
Yeah, we are 100% failure in it.
Well, I can understand why they had people fall off because the fireworks are really cool.
You
I'm
can
so
tell
mad,
how
though, I
what
was so
she
close
thinks
to
of
winning.
us.
Oh, let's see
Once
final
it's all-
results. We all died. We all died. We're exploring these maps and finding Bright shade, bright. Those are cute emos. Those are cute, cute, cute. Alright, we're gonna look at... She hates us. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't hate you guys. Alright, we're gonna do 1%. Oh god, I hear thunder and lightning. Did we do Twisted Rainbow Road yet? I don't think so. Oh, it tells you. It puts a flag next to the ones you've done. Aha! That's helpful. Probably the recent ones. Litwick! Some kind person gave me a gift sub, so I have a bunch of new emotes. That's awesome! I love gifted subs.
Those are really cute too.
Let's see. Litwick. I'm gonna catch the Litwick, and Lady Rain's not gonna catch it. That's what I'm deciding right now.
Fucking shit, my knees.
Exclamation play to join the race, guys. Exclamation play. Alright, who am I gonna tag
My
now?
doctor about my knees.
Alright, your knees?
Ew.
Uh-oh.
I can't, like, sit like I do and then stretch my leg out without having pain. I'm getting old, guys.
I'm gonna give Lady Rain cookies. She needs them. She needs all the cookies to help her feel better. Alright, 56 seconds to get your marble on the track. Exclamation play to join the race. That's all it takes to join the race. Oh, I think I hit the light down here. And it's like blinding me in the eyes. Ah, there we go. Ah. Look, we escaped. No one caught it? No! We get robbed. We get robbed. I protest. I protest.
Alright, whatever.
I protest. na. Oh, yep. See, this is why I don't play, guys. That's why I don't play. Oh,
Alright,
Midget Monstrosity. Oh, lady! Look at her sneaking in there. Way ahead of us and we didn't even know. Excited, though, for this map. See what happens. It's really pretty. It's kind of like the other one where it's very translucent, but it's also like got this aurora effect. And then you get these hideous, ominous, black, spinny things that are gonna kill you. I forget what those are called.
I don't know, it's not Steve.
No, it's not Steve. I don't even know if the Marblers still call it Steve, if they still know that name at all. Huh?
It's Steve, no matter what. It's Steve.
Right? It's Steve to me.
Oh, I swear to God.
I think it's been Steve since like season 1 or something. I mean season 3 or something. I don't remember. Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
I don't have anything, hold on.
How dare you?
You need to be drinking water, Missy.
No,
Or
No,
something.
I got water.
I slept for, 5 hours?
Rain! Congrats! Well, you
Yeah,
had
it was.
headaches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a migraine. It's because of the weather.
Yeah. Congratulations, Rain, Shane, and Midget Monstrosity.
You gave her cookies and she won? Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Alright,
Don't
race
drink it.
menu.
Mountain Dew pineapple.
Yeah, the hard. Yeah.
0. You know, I still hadn't bought a case of those. I hadn't tried any of them.
Me too, go get it.
I know.
The pineapple's actually pretty good.
I keep waiting
So is
for
the
it to,
mango.
like, come in the cans, the big cans, and just
Big
getting,
ones,
like,
I
one
know.
flavor at a time and trying it. But no, they
The
won't do
Bajas
that
won't
for
come
me.
that way. No, not for a while. They probably won't until they're all in every state.
Alright.
Which, speaking of, have they announced a new state yet?
Let him stay.
Yeah, Hard Mountain Dew announces the new launch state via Twitter. So what do you
Oh,
guys
Well,
think about the
also
new
in the Discord too, but
the threads thing?
Oh, I thought you were saying like a new state like America.
oh,
I was like, wow, Mountain Dew really has some power.
right? I would go live in the Mountain Dew state.
Mountain Dew state. They better have some mountains.
Roar! Exclamation play! Exclamation play to get your marbles on the track! Exclamation play. You almost can't even see the other marbles in this light. It's like this track was created solely for the ones that light up. Look at that. They don't have lights on them, they like pretty much disappear. The ones that have like a lit
Oh yeah.
appearance. Whoa.
Oh,
So like
Well-
my really old skins don't show up as much, but the new ones, like I got the pixel skin through the drops. That one. It's in the drops. And also if you did the Marbles drops last time I played, you should be able to do stuff on the app. Check out the app. I hadn't opened the app in forever. Curious though. I need to open it and see. Because I earned coins too through the drops, then I might be able to buy something. Oh, new? Or did I already look? So. Ow! I'm hurting myself here. I'll do that.
Okay, so it's rumored, there's a rumored launch for a blue glittery cotton candy flavored dew called Glitter.
Ew!
I was about to say,
Why is it blue?
not the blue part. What?
No,
I've
it's a
seen
photo
glittery
issue.
purple wine and stuff like
Oh,
that. I've seen
yeah.
glittery, and they're pretty.
Yeah.
But I don't know about blue. You know, you guys know
I'll
how
just
I
stick
am
with
about
my
blue.
beer. Yeah, I'll just
If you
stick
don't
with
know,
my
I don't eat blue food coloring, guys. It tastes gross.
Wow. So you're
I'm
not
weird,
blue
okay?
WD, then.
I don't want any blue drinks, blue lollipops, blue candy. No, thank you. It's like I can taste the chemical creation flavor that color has, and it's gross. I do eat blueberries, so don't judge me. Those are real
Whoa.
food, not fake food.
You don't like the color blue.
So I can log in with Twitch, but I have to go through the whole process. No.
Kimono's winning. It's just
Huh?
no, I just say you're winning, like she does.
Yeah, maybe. Cheat codes, hacks. So, you know.
The last state that they
Whoa!
announced was
Twists and turns. Yay!
Connecticut, and that was
Lady
in
Rain
May,
and
so
Crowley won.
hopefully a new state soon.
Oh.
They didn't announce.
Da,
when.
da, 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 da. There we go. Waiting on 2 more. Where are they at? Benjamin, Shasti, and Shane.
I wonder if they didn't announce one in June because they announced 2 in April.
X. Wax is not a game.
What? It's not.
Lady Rain. That's so weird on this track here, Marble.
I can get you some of that too if you want.
Oh, well, my brain don't work, so sorry.
Oh no. Alright, race menu.
Look, I won again.
I don't remember passwords and stuff. Okay, so just take a random adorable chilling something. Oh, adorable though. We'll go with that. And fix the
First one.
Where's everybody at tonight? It's quiet. Oh, this is weird for a Friday.
I know.
What do you think? I think it's weird.
Yeah,
If they're out
sure.
doing fun things.
Well, they probably have lives. I don't know.
What are you?
What are you
do in the
trying to
middle of
say?
summer? Like the fuck?
I don't-
What are you trying to say? I don't have a life. No. I have
It's
you
okay,
guys.
I don't either.
I have you guys. You guys are my life. Alright,
I
1
am a
minute, guys.
form
Get your
of a
marble
life.
on the track. 1 minute.
Yeah, I always say
Sure,
that I don't
miss
have a life outside of home or work, and home is here. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to just drink for like 100 people and then hope I can just keep talking. I guess I don't know.
Let's see. Play yes. Okay, now I gotta go get my hobby code. You're logged in! Yay! I made it into the Marbles app. Apparently I have 100 coins to spend from the Twitch drops. Customizing. Earn items. Customize your marble. Show them off. Ooh. Goodbye skets here. Streamer. Oh.
I think I took the wrong drug tonight.
You weren't prepared for this?
Nah.
All these colors, are they beautiful?
No. I'm a
Those look
simple
like those
person.
little candies on that roll of paper that you eat. Oh my god, drink water and posture check? Thank you. Water's bad for you? Yeah.
It is.
No way, this music sounds like something out of Castlevania. It's probably replaying now. I probably need to switch it now. I don't think it has a lot of the songs. That or they just all sound really similar. Oh, there's some more of those special blocks. I feel like maybe they launch people or something. I don't know. Oh, these transparent staircases are like pretty cool. Crowley's in the lead. You got this. Go, go, go. Over the hair curler. Down into the fishbowl. Woohoo! Did it, did it. Okay. I gotta wait for the others to hit the wrong button. Michigan, Lady Rain!
What?
I'm taking my time, alright?
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
looking
you
at
made it,
the
you made
stars.
it. You made it.
There's a delay, so...
Yeah, actually, we should be talking about you.
Oh, no, you're not
Yeah.
in yet. Yeah, I'm way at the end. Yeah, I know. Let's see. Oh, we can make like, get like hearts and stuff. So cute.
Has Mono even seen the redeems? Probably not.
It's been a long time. It was like a really long time.
Mono, drink water and posture check.
Oh no, I did. I drank water.
Oh, okay.
And I
You did
just,
water. That's close enough to water anyway.
I thought you were talking about on the app, the marbles game.
Drink water.
But yeah, posture. Stretch. Stretch. Oh, there we go. See results. We have Crowley, Michigan, and Lady Rain. Alright. Race menu. Gun show.
Yeah, the gun
Would.
show.
You would. Alright.
Alright,
One
wanna see some
second.
guns?
1 second. Let's find it. 4th Rainbow Avenue? Okay. Picking all the pretty tracks today. Introducing the Morbies. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Hey.
Barbies? Oh my god, they're adorable.
Yo. Alright. A Frillish appeared. Poke catch. And let's switch screens real quick for the gun show while you guys join the track. Alright.
There we go.
There you go. Been practicing. Just kidding.
Yeah, I can tell.
I don't know. Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. I'm just gonna embarrass myself now.
She does like 20 push-ups every morning. Just
Right?
actually, that would help.
Boop.
Like,
Boop. Boop. Crowley on the nose. Exclamation play, guys! Join the race! Exclamation play! 40 seconds left. Poop. Oh my god. That is not a command. But
Why
this
not?
one is. There. I pay you for that.
yeah, literally, you just like punch me in the face right
You gonna say poop on my stream? I'm gonna bite you, apparently.
You said poop.
Alright, I'm ready to see this track though. We got 11 seconds.
I just want to win.
I'm ready to see it. Batman! Welcome! Hiya! Hope you're doing awesome. Alright, here we go down into this. Oh my god, my eyes.
Yeah, I don't
My
even pay
eyes.
attention. I just look at the winner at the end.
My eyes. My eyes.
Not too late now, Papa.
Are we
Yeah.
seeing hearts yet? Are we seeing hearts yet? Lady Rain at the end. Shane
Of course.
making his
Take my
way.
time.
Shane, your tag matches the color of this track. Just saying. Just saying.
That's good.
Mm.
You can hide.
It's really hard to
Right?
read.
I'm good, just enjoying my day off. How are you doing? I'm doing good too. I had the day off as well. Been relaxing. You know, when I'm not finding busy work because I can't stay still. I think you should sit at the end of the goal for this one. Oh, you know all these tracks. You know the things. I feel like there's something known here. Oh no, that looks like a buoy trap. That looks like a trap.
No, it's because of all the pink. That's why
I don't know what's going on. It's just.
I think those circles are gonna do something too when you hit them.
Oh, jeez.
When it hurts too much. So yeah, he was like, it hurts too much, but I do think it does something at the end. I'm kind of curious. What symbol do I want when I do stuff? Is that when I spawn in or when I make it to the basket? Here they come. They're going to explode? That's what I think. That's what I think. I think they're like landmines and they're gonna explode when they hit them. I think once you hit the finish banner, there is council. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Once you get past that banner, you still win, but you still might explode. Da-da-da. Let's see. They may be fireworks. They could be. I keep hearing fireworks. No. I wonder if they make noise and I have the noise turned off. No, you guys just float.
Floating away.
You hit those and you float away.
Oh look, I won this one too.
You did, and you were the last to float away as well.
Yeah, I had to make sure that I.
And then you
know,
dropped to your
exploded.
death. It's 0 gravity triggers? Yeah, I see that. It's pretty cool. Where am I at? What am I doing?
Can't say I'd come up sober.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point.
Get your butt in gear and get your marble
Yeah, come on.
down the
come on.
track.
Unbelievable.
Get in here for the game. You know how this is done.
We're all waiting for you in the car right now, just like.
Right?
"Come on."
You made one! Congrats.
Well, no, just taking her sweet little time.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
like.
know. Trying.
Sorry, Shane. I'm sorry. Dreams!
You're so close to winning that one. Yeah.
Ow!
Welcome! Welcome.
How are you?
Good. Let's see. Races. Let's
up
do
there?
let's do a
Marbles.
Royale. Y'all wanna
Oh, you
like
do
hit each
marbles,
other
please.
and stuff?
Let me get my fucking jacket on because I got my window open and I like a good breeze.
Let's do a Royale.
Heck yeah!
Well, you guys gonna lose.
How are you this fine weekend?
Good.
I don't know. Just here.
Just
It
the
just started,
usual,
so.
just the standard. Well, Michigan.
I'm gonna win this Royale too.
I vaguely remember talking to you in Splints at the
What about
weekend
what?
there.
Alright. Join.
Oh jeez.
Join.
So I was out for Marky's Music Fest like last weekend, and I vaguely remember talking to you and Splints, and I had lost my voice.
Oh no.
I had lost my voice.
You sound like you're struggling still to get it back.
Yeah.
No, we're getting there. Like, this is like, see to get to this tone that I'm at right now.
Mhm.
Last week I was shouting to get to this tone.
Oh.
It
So
was
you got
quite.
muted in real life, actually.
Poor
I'll be honest, like,
dreams.
About damn time.
I
Talk
was-
so much life muted you. Dang it.
Wow, fuck.
That's
That
bad.
was too good, and I apologize. I'm
Real
gonna
life. Real life. I was in the Blackouts channel the other, like, just there, and they were like, I told them the story about how we were out for, or I was out for a music fest, and they were like, so you had no voice? And I was like, yeah, I had no voice. It's like, that must have been bliss for everyone around you. And I'm just like, you horrible bastards. Like, fuck off.
We know you so well.
So did you still try to talk even though you didn't have a voice, or did you just like sit there bored and not know what to do?
So, the tone that I'm speaking at right now, it was me screaming to make my vocal cords get to like that, like
Which probably made it
like a
worse
normal level,
overall for the
which made
healing
a
process.
whole load worse. So, come Sunday, no,
We got a
Saturday.
top 10
That was on the Friday.
situation.
So come
Yeah.
Sunday, no, sorry, that was on the Friday. So come Saturday, I woke up at like maybe 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Got myself ready and
go.
presentable, and
Water's targeting Shane.
I got myself ready, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was in the pub,
Yeah.
and I was there until 2:30 in the morning. So that was like almost a 12-hour stint
That's
in the
good.
pub.
Hit each other? Oh, yep, Water's after Shane.
So
Well-
it was pretty fucking bad. And the
Who was
only
Michigan
reason why I
after?
lost my voice was because I was trying to
I'm
talk to my friend.
Drake. Yes.
Everybody's after me, apparently, because this is Michigan.
Yeah, you died.
Yeah, everybody's like, you know. who's-
Michigan's after me, or Mission Monstrosity's after me, because targeted me. No. Is that still?
So-
did you do it
Everybody had
right?
Michigan right up there. I know A to
We're-
B.
Where do I need to go?
Just
the
join
stream.
her stream and then just
Oh,
joke
okay.
So
around.
Cat and Michigan are out. Oh.
'Cause they
Dusty's
targeted
out.
us.
Shane's
Yeah.
out. Oh no!
Oh, I
like the
can
whole
change
armor.
my target?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
Was it like? Was
It's,
it
it's
exclamation
down to
mark?
Lady and Water.
It's too late
Oh,
now,
Water
yeah,
smacked
but-
Lady
Yeah, no,
good.
yeah, what was it? Exclamation mark something?
Yeah.
Hello!
a
Hi,
winner.
Eden!
Okay.
They just.
I'm gonna get water.
I was the
do it.
first one out because. They,
Congrats!
I did it.
Congrats,
I did it.
well,
Yes.
this is not surprising to me at all.
Ah.
I think it's
all
rigged.
Hi!
It's totally
Welcome,
rigged.
No,
welcome,
you beat us all up and
welcome,
then.
Eden.
so
I've
I-
literally won every single one.
Kimono, is it still a case of like exclamation 4 or
No,
It's
Exclamation
play, and then the
Exclamation
number.
play.
exclamation play? Okay.
and then.
And then whatever
space.
number marble you
Number,
want.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
space,
Mhm,
then
mhm.
number.
Too much
Once I
information.
start, yeah.
Exclamation- Too much information. Exclamation play,
You shall win
space,
the next
then the
one.
number, or
Aw.
I'll win all
Yes,
of
that's
that.
it.
Okay, perfect.
Let's
Let's
see. Let's do a Grand Prix. Let's load up 3 tracks.
Well, let's do it because I bought some new wax.
You did. We're gonna see who does the Grand Prix. Okay, we did
New
that one.
wax?
Boomerang,
What for
Yeah.
your hair?
Delta.
I told him I could
No.
get him some wax.
You know what?
so-
Maybe make it 5.
Hey.
Let's make it 5.
No,
I like
I
candle
got
wax.
connection.
Candle wax.
I am talking
No.
about marble.
Oh, I think I hate the
Mother-
funnel, if I remember right.
Sorry,
Unless
buddy.
they
I'm
changed
just
it.
fucking ripping a cunt.
Nah, the fun wax.
It's a speedrun.
Oh, that wax. Well, I don't
Hold
have
on.
that on my
Hold
marble.
on. You need
Or
to tell me
marble.
which one.
Sorry.
Is that like doctor prescribed wax or?
No, it's called
I'm only joking. Just making things more awkward.
I was saying I need to
No,
wax.
Or
my
Michigan.
ball.
This stuff isn't prescribed by a doctor, but you can get it from a dispensary.
I bet it fucking is.
Expect play. Okay, I'll be lurking. Thank you for the lyric water. Thank you for playing. Eden, thank you for the sub. Oh my gosh, 49 months. Also, we have a stretch break, so it's time. It's time to stretch.
Whoa.
I guess that gives me time to go get.
That means you guys have to stand up and stretch, right? Not me,
No.
right?
No.
No.
I'm gonna go get a beer. You enjoy your.
Go get a beer. Go get a beer. I'm gonna start the timer, and then I'm gonna stretch. Exclamation play, guys. So exclamation play to get your marble on track. Only man playing marbles, really? I know, right? Shocked. Wow.
Look at us doing
Whoa.
a massive investment.
Since when?
we currently have going
Ah, stretch break though.
in
I'm running.
August. The 1st of August. Get this house.
Nice.
Get an actual house.
Hell yeah.
So the house is going for 150,000
Mm-hmm.
pounds. And from what I've seen, there's every possibility it can go a bit lower. But my family
Right.
know the person, and the real estate agents are going to take a commission. So I've instructed the person who I know is selling the house to take it off the market, because the real estate agents are going to take their commission. So if I tell them to take it off the market, then it's like, well, you don't have to pay that commission. I just give you what the fuck I give you. So, come August,
Heck yeah.
I thought you were gonna say homeless. I don't know why. You're gonna be
Wow.
homeless.
but the thing
Hey,
that I
so hey, you want a friend?
who?
You want a friend?
Not really. I've got loads of friends.
Alright, well, if you then. Think you're banned. No, just kidding. It was a-
I got fucking hundreds of friends.
No, I was.
I'm back just in time.
I want to live in England.
Where'd everybody go?
Oh, okay, I didn't mean that. Sorry. Yeah, of course.
You're
Virginia, you can come stay with me,
Lap
buddy.
1. 3 laps. Let's go. A joltic cookish. So what did I hear? Did I hear you getting a new
Possible.
house? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Eden at the airport. Right now, see y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck, Eden.
In August, I'm getting myself a new house.
And his new roommate that will not
Yeah.
put clothes on.
Well, so it's a 2-bedroom house
Berries.
that has a massive garden in the back, and I can
Well, I bet it
extend
does.
the kitchen into like a
Yeah.
conservatory. So it'd be like a big fucking, what do you call it, like a kitchen cum diner type thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool, and I can convert the loft, which means that it like if I subtract 1 bedroom in the loft, I make 2 bedrooms. Then I get a 3-bedroom house and an extension at
that.
the back. You can like a come diner, and here's the
You guys gotta beat me.
Here's the like
Last
the
lap.
man in me. In the garden, there's such a massive room that I can have a shed in it. I can actually convert the shed
Right.
into a bar.
No one
So-
called joltic. Great.
It's like when it comes like summertime or whatever, I
Yay!
can have people out in the back garden, and they're basically getting fed off my bar.
That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
No,
Sounds like
That's
a really
that's
nice
cool
place.
and all, but
So
Kimono
it's
cheated again. No sounds
When you see nothing.
Fuck's sake, come on.
like she uses all her
You see nothing.
cheese and glitches.
I got
Alright.
fest. I got fest though. I got fest. So
You got
Hold
a pick. I got second. 'Cause I'm
I
the
put
first
some
loser.
money. I put some money into this. What are we doing? Was it fucking exclamation play space and
Mm-hmm.
then the number?
Exclamation
Yeah,
play,
sure.
space, and
Whichever
number.
one you
Yeah.
want.
I'm pretty sure
Oh,
the number
1
that I
through
last
7.
had. I'm pretty sure the last number
I'm
I
gonna
had was
pick
14.
7 and win.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
you are.
The last number I had was 14. I bought that motherfucker. Anyone else takes 14, I'm gonna fucking get confused. So anyway,
Got it. So you picked number 14. Nice.
yeah, I'm 14.
I picked
So,
7, so I'm gonna
That's my
win.
plan. In August, I'm getting myself a house, ladies and guys. It's gonna be so good.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm up first.
And I said, ladies.
So that's when you move, is August?
No, that's when I go to buy it. Is in August.
Oh.
So at the present moment, I'm talking to mortgage advisors, solicitors, and lawyers, which is an absolute mindfuck.
Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's a big
so
process buying a house. It's a pain in the
It's
butt.
fucking massive.
Everybody
but
wants money off of your investment. Everybody.
true.
It's one of the most
But-
stressful things I ever protected in my life.
The one thing that I have
But
kind
you
of
forgot about your $10 friendship bill that you're supposed to send me.
But the
I'm
one
getting
thing that
investment.
the one thing I love about it is that this is kind of a reasonably small town, where my mortgage advisor, I know her through a friend who's in the Masons, and I know my mortgage advisor. I know my solicitor because my cousins have already been through it, and I know my lawyer because
Michigan,
my-
you're
it's
an
a fa-
imposter.
it's a-
Pretending
it's
to
a
be
family-
me.
Yeah, I
It's a
am.
family. It's
Imposter.
a family lawyer.
Because I have to win this way. Because you always win. So I'm just trying to, you know.
Right?
Anyway, she's copying my ball, and she thinks
Mm-mm.
that she is Kimono.
How do I?
That's my face.
How do I
No,
search
it's
where my
not,
ball
it's
is?
mine.
Where's my ball?
You're
number
behind. You're in front of
Right
me.
here.
You're in fourth
No, I
place.
get that, but
There
like,
he is.
how do I see where my ball is?
You don't.
You can
Look
see your
down.
number on the thing, and you can see your number if my camera points to it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like,
And
you can
this-
see your name on the screen.
And this
Oh, I can see my name on the
Michigan
screen.
person.
Yeah,
The
look for
nu-
your name on screen.
I know the number above our names is the lap we're on.
Yeah. There's like 3
Yeah.
laps.
Number of our names.
Because right now,
Buddy.
Kimono's in
Top
second.
right
and
is-
You
Michigan.
didn't make it, Water. You missed it.
Ah, okay, I get you.
Whoa.
Woohoo!
Now Kimono's
I
in
got
third,
third.
and I'm
I
in
got
first.
third. I got podium.
Mm-hmm.
I got podium.
No, this is a Grand Prix, so whoever wins for the entire thing.
I'm
The
second.
five,
just this
the
lap,
5
no.
different maps.
There's 5 maps,
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what?
so you have to win
Just-
all of them.
Just when someone builds themselves up, he's a very, very good at just fucking knocking them down.
Good.
And you know what? I've never
I
felt so
strive for
privileged.
that.
How am I doing so good?
I
Well,
try to
I'm
even use your
second.
ball.
I used
and I
hacks.
still-
Second corner,
Mm-hmm.
just I fucking.
The Water was goofing around. It's okay, Water.
Do you know, I've never felt between yous lot. I've never felt so proud, yet at the same time so fucking underwhelmed. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's what you said last night.
I'm just like, this is great. They're building me up. They're building me up, and then all of a sudden, I'm second.
You're succeeding in real life, so that's more
How do
amazing
you-
than any game.
How do you like your life now? You haven't succeeded.
Right?
For sure.
Let's see. Oh, gosh. Shocky, play with balls. Welcome, Shocky.
If anyone chooses 14, then I'm gonna
Exclamation play to join the race, guys. Exclamation play.
can't choose 14.
Well, if they just randomly play, then they don't have any control over which ball they get. It randomly gives it to them.
True, but I get so confused. I think it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Just look for your name above the ball. Not so much the
don't
ball
worry
itself.
about the ball. Worry about you. Because you
Mhm.
were given 2. but you're only given
You
one.
got 30 seconds to get your ball on the track, guys. 30 seconds. Exclamation play.
I'm
Now
not
or never.
entirely dip it. I know that I'm just trying to claim that no
Dreams,
one should
are you
use
joining?
14, but I did.
Uh,
I'm there.
Mm,
Exclamation.
Play.
Fucking
you did on the last race. We're on a new race.
Yeah, you have to enter each
Exclamation.
time.
play.
Well,
Put
use the
space
energy
14.
up here in your brain.
Well, sorted. Am I in?
Yes,
Nope.
you are not in.
Too
What?
late.
Too late.
Fuck yous! Exclamation.
Sure.
Play.
You
I'm
can't
sorry to
now.
say,
It's
but you
14.
suck.
You missed the deadline.
Can I
It's a
see
deadline.
which ball I
It's
have?
your
Yes,
fault.
yes, of course. Let's see
Maybe
which one
next
you
time,
have.
pay for your tabs and
Or-
you'll be able to drive.
You have like an ice-covered one. What is that something special you purchased on the app?
What's that? Me?
No.
Because I don't think it's one of
Oh,
mine.
yeah.
Your blue
Um,
one?
No,
I'm
it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm just really disappointed in myself.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Mate, there's no
Yay!
one else to blame. No one else to blame.
My ball is on track.
Mate, that's
I like it. I like it.
Well,
Did you win it or
that's-
unlock
that's
it?
what I
Your
was
ball
hoping.
is somewhere else.
my
looks like
ball
Ice
is
Cube.
like outfield.
I'm gonna be doing my things.
On a different
ball?
note, how you
No.
been? What you
Shane's
been
in
up
the
to?
lead. You bought it? That's cool.
Kimono, you weren't here last week. Where were you? How was last week?
I died.
Come again?
They had to.
I died. I was
That's-
feeling like death.
Oh really?
So
Do you have
yeah.
a long weekend?
yeah, I just been
Oh,
sick,
yeah.
fighting allergies and stomach aches.
Oh,
and
really?
I just no fun. Yeah.
I thought you were away, like as in like traveling and excursions and shit.
Every whole month.
Mm-mm.
No, she
Nah.
died.
Oh,
No,
you
I
did.
died.
This is actually the
Yeah.
twin sister.
You lost your voice
Yeah.
and I you know was
Yeah.
lost my face. So I don't know my nose.
Wow.
My
Wow, that's a way to put it.
allergies. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I lost
Shane,
my voice
congrats!
and you couldn't function.
Nope.
Well, I applaud it.
I'm so glad
Do
I
you
never
find the
got it. I'm
results?
not trying to.
Shane, Michigan, and water. Ooh.
I'm always second.
Oh, have you been playing Shocky?
What about
You
yourself,
got a
lady?
little
What were you
green
up to
badge
last
thingy.
weekend?
Who?
Next.
Lady,
Oh,
Huh?
baby.
I said, what were you up to last weekend? How was
She
your
won the
weekend
lottery
the other
last
week?
week.
Shane.
last weekend?
Ah.
I played D&D
Shane's
on
cheering on
Saturday
himself.
like normal.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hilton.
So, I'm pretty sure I had a conversation about this before, but my wee cousins obviously have started like a D&D.
Join. Exclamation
I'm
play
not
and your
really-
number to join.
I'm not really
If
proficient
you want.
in D&D.
You stop yelling at me. Just kidding.
I use that like a.
No, I'm gonna keep you in.
So, when you play D&D and you're at a specific point, you can leave it for days and then come back and you're still at that specific point. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have sessions. They're called sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So
The group decides when they're gonna play and what day and how long.
that's cool. So
And I'm gonna
the one thing that
cry.
I've not
Don't
really found out
cry.
to be like great
It's
in
over.
D&D
I'm already done crying.
is
Don't
where
cry.
someone has,
27
like, a
seconds to get your
specific
marble on the track, guys.
statistic
Exclamation
about their
play.
character.
It is because
I
I
don't
was in
know
the
how
top
they
10 for
get
many
that.
seasons. Yeah.
What?
So you got like an
What?
OG one.
So
I wish I
it's
had
like
that.
the one thing I've never really kind of
What's my
followed.
one
I knew it was
thing
something like that, but I
is how
forgot.
Someone has a specific statistic about their character,
Right, Dream? I'm
where
good.
they're
It depends on your race, your class, and like how you
It's
want
not
to
super
play your
racist.
character.
what?
Well, race is your species, so like
I'm
your like
vegan.
elf, human, orc,
Okay.
Tiefling.
Yeah. Oh,
There's all
Shane's starting
kinds
off
of
in the lead
different
again.
races that you can choose
Oh,
from, and then
Dave-ball.
you have several classes you can choose from too, and
Followed
depending
by
on your class will
Dreams.
depend on what your stats should be.
And Shocky
Okay.
and one.
And there's a standard array, or you can go with you roll like
Now it's
6
Shane and Lady
d20s
Rain.
and use those, but most people use the standard array.
That's part of my point. When does someone know
Either
when
or.
they're rolling
Thank you
a
for the
D20 or when
follow!
they're rolling like a D10, for instance?
Organic
I'm wearing it.
eggnog.
I
That's
understand
cute.
this is, like,
Welcome,
fucking
welcome,
big
welcome.
questions.
Thank you for the follow.
I got you.
Look, all I have is this. Fucking
That's a
D6.
D6.
D6, and I got 2 D6s to make up a fucking
Let's
D12.
go, guys. Let's go.
That's all I've got.
Alright, so this is a d20. So it's a 20-sided die. Alright?
Redeem drink
These
water.
are
Thank
D10s.
you. I
You
won't
see
get in
one's
trouble,
got
will
one
I?
digit on each one, and the other one has 2 digits. So the 2
I won't
digits.
get in trouble for drinking
So
your
these are
family.
d10s. So they go 0 to 9.
Well, let's drink. and
0
watch
being
the marbles play out.
Cheers, yeah. Lap 2.
0 is 1. Yeah. I think that's how that works. Anyway,
Crazy. Not
so you
grape
have-
juice, drink water. Oh, okay, okay.
No, grape juice
No, no,
is
no,
water.
Water.
26, yes.
Mm.
But you have 2 different d10s. You have one which is a
Mm.
single number, and you have one with 2 numbers.
There you go.
The 2 numbers is your
All the
percentile.
water.
So sometimes you'll roll both of them, and you say like
I'm
I
rolling
roll a
right now.
7
Thank
and a
you.
6, so it's a 67%.
Shocky's passing, lady.
Yeah.
You didn't get that badge for no reason. Top 10
It does.
for multiple
Like, it
seasons
kinda
in
does,
a row.
but- Yeah, that you can roll as a
Oh,
as
Lady
a
Rain took it back.
percentile. Yeah, I got a d12.
Lady Rain took
I'm
it
gonna
back.
give
Uh-huh.
D.
D8.
It was a horrible joke. I apologize. I'm not
What
gonna
did
say
you
it.
That's a
say?
D8,
What
that's
are
what
you
you kinda
saying
did.
over there?
No, I was
Trouble?
gonna say to
D4?
Dreams, I was gonna give him these nuts.
Oh. Oh no.
Sorry, I'm
Ah.
just trying
Your
to get
standard
into the
D6.
D&D, you know, because we are marbles.
And that's your standard 7 dice. Yeah, that's your standard.
Oh, Lady Rain. Last lap.
She's not even paying attention when she's
A
winning.
Purloin. She's just a pro. She's
tiny
that
dice.
good.
She waxed her balls.
Poke
Tiny
catch the
dice.
purloin, guys! Exclamation poke catch purloin.
So
That's like fucking Uno.
this is a
What wax
normal
do
sided
you use,
d20.
lady?
Okay,
I love it.
this is the tiny one.
A wild water lurk. Thank you for the lurks.
Dude, that looks like Dreams.
I got-
on that.
I got the tiny
That's Lady
one
Rain again. Who's gonna be at the
I got
top
the
of the
tiny one for my
podium?
Kim
I think
too.
it's secured.
that I'm
Oh,
that I'm
hold on,
playing right now
sorry.
because she's so small.
Oh,
I
lady.
won.
Lady, what
You
wax
exploded
do you
too.
use?
Oh my god, we explode if we get up there. Oh
The
jeez.
cannabis kind.
What wax?
Cannabis
We
kind.
turned into fireworks.
No, I thought you were gonna show like a bottle of wax.
No, I don't have any wax.
I've never heard of that drug.
I'm really trying to be very vague with what I'm going to say here.
How
Join.
dare
I was out on Friday, and some guy jumped my my rugby coach, and I earlier on in that day
Play.
persuaded this guy.
Exclamation play to join the race, guys. Exclamation play. There's less
Yeah,
than
yeah,
a minute
listen
on the
to them all.
clock. Yo.
Are you gonna play Dream?
I did.
Alright.
He did.
I want to make sure you're focused.
I'm semi.
I know you're playing. You're playing with our dreams and hopes and eyes. What about
Yes,
band
exclamation play. Anybody lurking and listening, all you have to do to join is
What time?
exclamation
At
play in the
band
chat. That is it. Super easy. No requirements. You're just gonna only join before the counter goes off, and then you can't.
Right, Kamala, right?
Mhm. Hello, Steve. Oh, Steve. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi. Oh, I hit buttons.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
hit
paying
buttons.
attention.
I want this menu to go away, and I don't know how I made it to pop out, and I forget, and now I won't go
Hit the
back
exit.
away. There. Okay, I got it.
You hit
I
the-
got it. We're gonna watch Desi go down the track. I missed entering! Escape!
Thanks.
I love your name, though. Is your name literally because of the spinners on the track? We call them Steves. Is that why you have your
Think some
name
of
that
us
way,
are
though?
getting Overstimulated.
He-
That's what I
he was
want to
all
know.
told us.
You can DM me about D&D stuff, you know. Oh, was it wax stuff?
But yeah, I don't know if you
Anyway,
know that.
Oh.
I hope you get
Anyway,
in
I'm
next
in-
time, Steve.
I'm in second, third.
That's my collection of dice.
Holy cow, that's a lot of dice,
And it-
Lady Ring.
And it doesn't even fill this completely yet.
I don't know where you're at.
No, it's my dice bag
Explain.
that I crocheted myself. No. No, it's
My
my
dice bag, Desi!
my dice bag. And then Mono's
Making the
got
way
one
to
that I
you.
made too.
Steve from A Cloudy with
Yeah.
a chance of meatballs, but I know the
crochet
spinners are
that one, too.
Steve's too. Yes.
The one that she's
I
got
love
is much
that
smaller
though.
than mine, but
That is such a good,
uh,
good movie. I love the Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. I think I've seen it at least 3 times.
crochet.
At least. Yeah. But yeah, this is
Knit,
my
crochet.
my dice bag that Lady Ray made me for dice. I just gotta
No,
put my dice
knit
in it.
uses 2 needles, crochet uses a hook.
They're not in it yet.
Unless you want me to do
I forgot.
Tunisian crochet, which
Thank
is
you
a
for the
combination
follow.
of the two.
Thank you, thank you,
But
thank
it's
you.
still a hook, it's just longer.
Dreams. See, when you pay
Dreams
attention,
got first
guess
place
what
and you
happens?
didn't know it. Poor Dreams.
Dream, when you pay attention
Dreams,
to your
Michigan, and Desi. Okay, finish the Grand Prix. Uh-oh. Results are here. Drum roll. Drum roll.
Who's winning?
We know Lady Rain's winning.
always
She won
get
like
second
first place
place.
I don't know how many times.
Who wins?
Third place goes to... How did you get third place?
Me?
Yeah! Point
That's because
systems,
you
I
cheat.
guess. And maybe
I
you
did
didn't
not
get...
cheat.
Because cheat codes, Michigan got second. Who's
I
gonna
didn't-
get first place?
Didn't I
don't
just say
know.
I'm gonna get?
Shane got first place! That was totally unexpected because I swear Rain won like 3 of those. It's
Well,
all
I've
about
been
point
s-
systems at that point, I
The
think.
hell, Shane.
I
I've
don't
been
know how
second
that
place
worked.
most of the races, so I get second
Shane
place
used
too.
his
someone
mod
want my
superior mod hacks.
12
I don't
that
know.
I accidentally stole from my ex like 3 years ago.
He used
5
his
years ago.
founder's badge to
I
elevate
hate
his
it.
status on the podium.
I have these
cheated.
ones. No,
So.
it's black and yellow. It's a translucent black.
Congratulations!
Kind of like this one. This is a translucent black with white.
Alright,
I don't
go
like.
to races.
Actually, I bought
Let's do
the
another Grand
translucent
Prix.
black
Prix of it.
ones
Let's do
with the
a
white on
3.
them, at
Let's do a short one.
GameStop.
One.
My best die?
Oh, I don't know which one. Hmm.
Like it's got a like. Oh, the liquid.
You know what? Let's just do it.
That one.
Let's just do it. You know, I'm gonna
This
go back
one's
to
got
doing them in
cold
order,
leafing in it.
so don't forget.
Well, so this is actually a purple. It's just really light.
Gonna
but
crash
there's,
soon. Good
this
night.
whole
Thank
set
you, Shane.
is glittery and it's
Oh,
got
Shane, take care.
gold leaf in it. They're resin dice made with gold leaf.
All right, if you want to join the race, exclamation play, guys! Exclamation play to get your marble on the track.
Yeah. It's not focusing very well, but I keep trying to see it there.
Play 69.
I did that.
I
last
don't
time.
have 69 marbles.
You don't have 69
Yeah.
marbles?
Actually,
No, I don't.
my favorite is this one. So you can't tell.
I'm
but
lacking
it's really
some marbles.
shimmery.
Seriously.
It shimmers.
I'm seeing a lot of D
46
right now. It's not like
seconds.
monster.
Exclamation play. 46 seconds.
Anyways,
Great.
you guys, sorry.
I know.
Let's do some.
Ooh, Steve is currently 420.
Oh, there it goes.
So I
You can
like
kind
it
of see the
because it's like
shimmer.
blue, but it's got like the dark shimmer of red.
Hello.
Yeah, it's like a galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Let's
love
do
it.
some marbles.
Iguana. Oh, it's
Got a
so
whole
cute!
Of course, I had like this
I
really
love
pretty
it.
marbly
Love it, love it, love it,
pearlescent
love it.
purple too.
Nice.
17 seconds.
A little bit.
Do, do, do.
Anyways,
Get
you
your
guys want to talk
marble.
about your D's?
I
Go
really didn't
D's.
realize. I'm sorry, Kimono. I'm sorry, Michigan. I didn't realize. I thought they were like in like
No.
a specific kind of.
No.
Everyone else can hear us.
No.
Anyway,
I'm gonna
Kimono,
talk about my marble and how it's gonna be waxed.
Oh my gosh.
How was your weekend, Kimono? That you weren't here. What were you up to?
You literally
I was
asked that
sick.
when you came in.
So how was your last 2 minutes?
Sorry, I'm a bit.
That's why I wasn't here.
I'm a bit mentally absent.
Well, we can tell.
There's some more wrong with you mentally, but
I
that's
don't
besides
remember
the point.
exactly what days I was sick, but I think I was gonna stream Thursday and I canceled, and I just know I hadn't felt good off and on like since then. Like even today, I haven't felt 100%. It's like what the heck?
Tonsillitis or something?
Well,
It's
what
because I
is
took
100
time off from work. That's why you get sick when you take time off from work. It's a given.
Well, what
you take
is 100?
you take a staycation, you're just supposed to get sick or something. Apparently, staycation,
Staycation.
a vacation where you stay at home,
Taking vacation time, getting paid, staying at home, but like
Is there a name for that?
staying
not
home,
going
yes.
anywhere because it's the best. Just stay home and.
Kidding me.
Yeah.
You know what we call that? Here in Scotland?
Not a holiday.
Wimp.
Oh, wimp.
Fucking.
Well, when you're
could
broke,
still-
sometimes your vacation time is stuck being a staycation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is true. I had just took a vacation to see Lady Rain, and
Yes.
so, you know, I spent my money doing that. So this one was a staycation.
Girls, as much as I love
That's
you,
it.
I love
There.
you like a fucking, like a
Hi, Matthew. Thank you for the lurk.
But a staycation,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
just an excuse.
No, it's called we work our butts off.
Look, when you,
You still
are,
can work home. You
I
still
get
can work home.
mentally. I can't work at home. I can't work from home.
I
I
can't
can.
work from home because there's too many distractions.
No, I don't have the ability to work from home with what I do.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no
no. Yeah, you
way
can't
I can.
program your AI.
From what I do, there's no chance of fuck I can.
Michigan, you
But I just
won.
merely mention it.
Michigan,
About time I
Cat,
won.
Carly. All right,
It's-
next map.
Like,
Next map.
if I'm sick or I'm ill and I have like the flu or whatever, we have a saying: "Man the fuck up." And I don't.
No,
mean
no,
to
no,
say
no,
that-
no. So she didn't have.
I don't mean
Well,
to say
maybe
that
in
in the sense of, like,
1800s.
that's
No,
what you should
she
do.
didn't take. No, she didn't take the time off because she
She can.
was
She
sick.
still works.
She didn't
Ah.
use vacation time because she was sick. She had the vacation time to use, and then she got sick
Ah.
afterwards.
That
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
she
because
can
you have to
work at
schedule
home.
your vacations like weeks in advance.
Yeah. You
So-
can't schedule
Everybody.
being sick.
Like the
Yeah,
balls.
I'm not,
Yeah, you
I'm,
can't
all
st-
I'm really mentioning is,
Exclamation
like,
play,
all
guys!
the-
Exclamation play! Get your
Have
marble
it
track. 46
Green,
seconds.
Wax your balls. Let's go.
Anyone takes number 14, I'm gonna fucking hunt you down. And,
It can be random.
or can it? Yeah, Kimono said that.
Race 2
Yes.
of the Grand Prix. There are only 3 races in this Grand Prix.
I understand she wasn't streaming.
And there are only 3 marbles on this track. We are severely missing players. 5 bits! Thank you so much! Thank you for the
Crowley
biddies!
_pro
The cute
_
little
cheer.
hearts! Thank
X5.
you! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Alright, nobody made it. We're going. The 3 of us. That's it.
I made it. Okay, that was it.
Oh,
if I win.
And Desi's ghost made it. Desi's ghost made it. Let's go. Let's go.
I seen the names go over the back, and I thought we all just fucking went like off the back.
First of all,
Oh, I forgot to join in this one.
you're not
Damn it.
even here.
Yeah, that's what I was yelling at everybody.
I
There's
tried
only 3
to,
people in here. Get it.
No,
I
no.
tried to.
Michigan.
Oh
I'm not
god.
doing this one.
Steve missed it too. Oh jeez.
I typed in.
I tried. I don't know what to do. just gonna try.
We
It's
did
okay.
not.
You know what?
So we failed. It's okay.
I tell you what. For all those that have to some extent, put up with me, I'm very sorry for the decorum which I carry myself.
See.
I'm really not that bad.
Ah, when I don't
Just
pay
like
attention,
fighting
you're
for a
right.
fucking-
It happens to all of us. Even my mods who are sitting there playing on their phone right now as I'm
Or
yelling in
talking
their
about
ears.
D&D and all that stuff.
I'm
Fridays
trying to
Set a 30
customize my
second
thing, but I
timer.
got nothing.
Fridays for me.
I have it on 60 seconds and everybody forgets. If I set 30 seconds, they won't make it at all because they won't have time to enter on mobile or
I joined
or
in like the first
anything.
second.
That's the only problem. If I do 30, do you think people will show up if I do it 30 seconds? Because
Honestly, you're gonna have to do 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes.
I give them 60 and they can't make it.
Hold on, 10 minutes and a lunch break. I think they'll be able to join.
You're on mobile too and it works at 30 seconds? Cool. You make them work harder, right? 60 is fine, are you sure?
Hey, we're smarter.
Make them
not
work
harder.
harder.
Come on, no. We question. Is
Uh-oh.
it playing for the most of the night? Or
Answers. Yes.
Yes.
Just curious.
You're rolling in multiple tabs? It's awesome. Do it, do it, do it. Get the marble grind on.
Hey,
Move
Crow,
up the
can you
rigs.
stop, please? I have
You
a
got
question.
this. You can do it. You're on multiple tabs and you're actually listening to me. Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Well,
It's a
be
hard thing to
fair-
do to listen to multiple streams. Sometimes I think the most I've ever listened to was like 3. I do remember Marble days though. When I used to like be a big grinder, I would like yeah, I'd have like 10 tabs open. But now they got all the cooldowns and stuff, but still, they got everything set for that. Rally! Congrats, congrats, congrats! Next map, let's go!
Hold on, Crawley. I am fucking livid. I would have.
Three people. Crow was not even here.
Alright guys, get in here. Exclamation
Hey.
play.
They.
Gonna hit start right now.
Then the number. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll keep you in.
GG, yes. Oh, Mr. Rhyme?
We just done it.
Is that like Mr. Mime? A rhyme?
Yes. It's a evolution, I think.
Oh. It's a new one?
Michigan.
Look at you guys, I'm so proud of you guys. All jumping in here really fast.
Crow. The pronouns are they them.
Alright. Poke catch.
Crowley. Their pronouns.
Poke
are
catch,
they,
Mr.
them.
Rhyme.
Not she
Yeah.
or he.
Fine. I know
Say
this.
them.
That's why I say
Okay.
Crow because I screw up. Yeah.
Crawley's the same.
Yeah.
I always screw up. I always start
Let's
to every other
go.
day.
Them.
So. I know what I just said. But I'm gonna go jump off the bridge real quick. So
Ah!
Fuck me.
it's very hard.
Look, I'm over here protecting people's pronouns for them. All right.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Fair play.
I like the ice
Oh.
cream though.
I got these
How did you do that?
separated.
You got all the things on
I
yours.
got them all
Oh,
separated. into
hold on.
things.
Let's do this better.
Okay, but look at all my sets.
Come on, how did you do that?
Ice
jeez.
cream. Is that like one of those air balloon things to go on top of it? I love it. I
Inflatable tube
love
guy.
it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so cool. I love it.
I never get these damn things.
Mr. Rhyme has been caught by KimonoKat. Yay! I caught a Pokemon.
I didn't. I haven't caught a Pokemon all
Oh,
day.
he's
Desi's
fine.
in the lead,
Fine.
followed by Cat. Go, Desi! Oh no, Desi! Careful jumping that high. Careful.
Oh, come on.
No,
Oh,
no,
Cat
stop.
jumped
How do you-
over
how-
Steve
how
and
do you
kept
drop
going.
on that?
Oh, but I exploded. I missed the target. I exploded.
Exploding.
No, Michigan missed it too.
I exploded too.
I
All right,
have,
we're down
so-
to Crowley,
Where's
Desi.
she?
Oh, Desi, not that way.
There. He's fucking dodged on the back.
Oh,
Come on, son.
Steve.
Come
Yeah,
on,
we
son.
lost everybody. Everybody's gonna
Oh,
die,
Steve.
but Lady Rain.
Come on, Jim. Come on,
Did I
you got
survive?
this.
The only one that lived was you, Rain. You're the only survivor. Wacky wave, inflatable arm, frailing tube man.
Hell yes.
Yes. Guts, nuts. A mouthful
yeah.
of words there.
As one should.
Finish the Grand Prix. Let's go. Third
I bet
place
all the
goes
people
to Michigan.
Nice and full.
He's still on the podium again.
Third.
How? I don't know. Like, I don't even...
Crowley in second. First place, Lady Rain. Woohoo! Look at you
Yeah.
go.
Look at me! I got a thing for my chest on the app.
Nice.
That's why I'm all
So
glowing.
now
yeah.
you got first place because of it.
I like it. I like it.
No.
I gotta figure out how to do all that. So
You have to get points.
it's been
to
forever.
get, like the currency and stuff.
I was trying to figure out what the free currency that you earned with the drops was for, but I haven't figured that out
Community
yet.
points. Community points are for the dev chest, which is what I did for that.
Oh, okay.
I got that out of the dev chest.
Dev chest. I'll have to look for that. Let's see. Alright, which ones did we just do? Endurance test.
Oh.
Do Grand Prix.
If you will survive, I like that song.
You will survive the gauntlet,
I love
and
this.
I the storm.
If you will survive.
Let's go.
Kind of leads it up to like, you know, the fucking elements. Great.
Yo. Lick. Ah!
Don't run again.
I'm the only cat here, you know.
Run.
Okay. Join! Exclamation play, guys! Exclamation play to join the race!
Exclamation
I'm
play,
starting the
yeah.
timer. 1 minute.
Well, I want to talk about these.
James in?
Ugh.
Yes, he fucking is. So I found out
You
the
made
reason
it.
why I found out the reason why I failed last time. Because I put plat, not play.
Oh, no. Yeah, don't type plat. That's not gonna get you in the game.
Not gonna get you anywhere.
Or you could say start. We get no. Okay, you can.
Like, well, I don't know.
Let's see.
Why is my marble way the hell? Way the F back there.
If anyone else uses 14, then
Um.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Alright, I have the app open. Let's look.
I tell you what, 10 looks like a fucking banging number.
And you said go to
10 looks like a banging number.
community
10 and
chest.
12.
Oh.
10
and 12 looks like a cracking number. What's the one with the skulls actually?
Treasure
That-
chest. You buy the chest and then you don't know what you're gonna get. Is that how it works? Right?
Huh?
Buy the
What?
community chest and then you don't know what you're gonna get from the community chest.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Purchase. Let's see what I win. Ooh, a new shape.
Do you know what
A
I don't
bullet.
like about this? The fact that I'm just
Get a new
constantly
shape. It's called a
concentrating on
bullet.
you. Like, switch it
What?
up. Like, we're all, like...
She does.
yeah,
Her,
but
first of all.
Does she?
Yes. You have to
So
pay
I don't-
attention to realize this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna purchase a regular thing. What do I get? A dev.
Lady's
Black
like
and white
fucking halfway
skin?
through the course
I think
already.
it's a skin.
No, lady cheats.
Damn right I do.
Alright, let's see what else I
Man,
get.
look how quick you got through that.
Yeah, but now
Ooh.
Steve's ahead of me.
Yellow.
I got caught up with Steve because Steve got me out of the. Oh, Steve lost. All right.
Oh, Rain in first place again.
Like I
I
said,
swear
she's-
you got hacks.
Oh, you
I
fuck.
got all the hacks.
Did you
today.
give her
Yeah.
your hacks? I think this was going.
Apparently. Now it's Cat and Dreams. See if Cat makes it. Nope, Cat died. Dreams died too. Just Rain. Just Rain. It's not
Hey,
fair.
I didn't die.
Fuck.
Yeah, I didn't die.
It's not fair. Let's go.
Lady, always winning.
Next map.
Anyways,
Join.
what wax does she use?
Start.
Right?
Exclamation
Oh.
play.
She has some crazy wax.
Oh, Dreamweaver got burnt this time.
About time.
On it. I'm there. Here. I got a bit of redemption.
Anyways, cheers everybody though. Cheers.
On that note,
Cheers.
Sanjava.
36
every-
seconds. Get your
It's
marble
all
on the track.
jokes in this world.
36 seconds and the race will commence. Are you ready?
Oh no, how did you do that, that butt thing? KimonoKat burns Dreamweaver.
Well, you just have to,
Type roar.
yeah.
Type the words roar in chat.
And it's
Exclamation
random.
RAWR. And then you'll randomly burn people.
If you burn me, I'm unfriending you. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
I don't know why.
If you burn me, as he spoke, he jinxed himself and got burned.
No, I could just feel the burn.
You could feel the heat coming your way. Is that what it was?
It's like
It is my power.
Discord and fucking Twitch know that me and Michigan are like fucking. tight.
Yep.
Then it's just like, oh, who should we?
Go Michigan, followed by Dreams, Desi,
How do we fuck shit
Raleigh,
up?
Cat.
Oh, do this.
Lady Rain, and are all
Dude,
getting
I
caught
slipped.
up by
I'm taking my time.
I
Steve.
slipped through
Oh, here,
Steve
I
very
went, I
well.
went through the whole.
Yeah, you did.
I just slipped from
Go Michigan. Are you gonna go through the spinny thing properly and survive?
Okay. You guys
No,
want
I'm
Monty
slow,
Fuzz?
apparently.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, you guys can have some Monty Fuzz.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm behind.
Yeah.
Did I get first? No, not yet.
No, yeah.
There we go.
Come on,
I'm
ball.
not even right behind.
Well, to be
Okay.
fair,
Go,
I went
go,
to
go.
Lady's garage and I
I don't
found
have
the
a
What?
garage.
that she was using. Not
What
that
is with
one.
the floating marble? Is it just missing its name tag? Maybe it's like a ghost marble that got banned? It has no
I
name.
think it is.
The
I
ghost
think
with
that's
no
why.
name.
think it's just a phantom.
Look at this foot.
Phantom marble.
Like,
Being around,
it's-
what the
it's
heck?
someone- It's someone else viewing. Someone else viewing.
No, I doubt it.
Ta-da. No, it's like the ghost marble of a ghost track of a ghost time with a user.
Yeah.
Ghost marble of a previous record runner, yeah, but it doesn't even have a name. That's the weird part. Usually it has the name tag on it. But not
Well,
anymore.
It's the ball that couldn't.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Come on, Trina.
Ta-da.
Fucking let's.
Come on,
Well,
Michigan!
No, I stole
Let's not
Lady's
this show
wax.
apart, son.
and I think I'm
Clearly.
gonna go ahead.
Dreams, Desi, Crowley, Cat Lady. Cat Lady. Oh no! If we do the ship command and we get
Hey,
each other, we are
Dream.
officially Cat Lady.
Dream, your shoes untied.
Oh,
Milky smoothie. Come on.
No, I died.
Michigan, you
Oh, I shipped
failed.
with
You
myself.
like,
Fuck,
oh
I got-
no, you're still Lady Rain then.
Yep.
Well, she gave me the wrong wax.
Dreams and Desi.
Second.
Desi, Dreams. Desi gets first, Dreams
No,
gets second.
Dream
Will
got
Crowley
second.
get third, or will Crowley come down as
Dream
the
got
bowl
second.
scooches away and miss it? Nope.
I
Probably
found,
gets her.
I found that.
Desi with the KimonoKat skin.
Found the hole, and then I
Yay!
went to the channel, and it's great.
And for you guys that don't know, that's my old OG skin and my OG character from like, you know, season 3 of Marbles. So that's my old
I
logo.
think she was 19 when she made that.
Desi Spark is the alternate ego
Yeah.
of Kimono. So she technically came first. So
Yeah.
what I was saying was that Desi Spark was Kimono's alter ego when she used to have like her.
Oh.
Yo.
So she's technically first.
Alright guys, join exclamation play to join the map exclamation play.
You're fine.
How am I gonna burn?
Sorry, I'll be
I'm
right
pulling
back.
fuzz.
I'm
Come on.
gonna be right back.
Oh, did you sneeze?
Alright James, this is how you do it. You see.
Alright, lady. Let's see what it is.
Is this?
Some fuzz?
These are all the sound commands you can
Monkey
use
fuzz?
as a sub. Dreams you can use roar, angry cat,
some monkey
easy
fuzz.
salty, breathtaking, meow. Oh, and run, because you can run away.
I pulled it.
And you want that?
Pulled it. I'm happy.
Well, fucking 50 more of that, you make a pillow.
Oh my god, that's a lot of hair.
That's all I've just pulled today.
Yeah, but
Today.
the fact that I
Jeez, I couldn't hit. No wonder my allergies are so bad. Just kidding.
that as a pillow.
No, I don't. It's just, that's where I'm putting it right now.
Alright.
I can't brush him, so sometimes I just pull his fuzz.
Now you just keep it to one side and like, ah, fuck, I'll make a pillow.
Hi. I know I was pulling your fuzz, huh? Oh, Papa. I know, you don't like it when I pull your fuzz.
Like it hurts. That or it just
He
annoys
does,
them.
though. It just annoys him, but I think it pulls sometimes because I end up grabbing some of the fur that's still attached to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't like being brushed.
Ugh.
Like I just got my finger hooked under that one. Just petting him.
Go cat, midget,
Yeah, you are.
lady raid, Dreeps, Desi.
Not in a drunk
Here.
sense.
Eye of the storm.
No,
Who's gonna come out of the storm and
Oh, I'm-
survive
you're
and make
right.
it to the other side? We will find out.
Oh, midget monstrosity, I'm at 150,000. I could get 15 stickers out of
Oh. Gotta do my daily Genshin check-ins.
Oh, motherfucker.
Okay, points mode. I halfway to more stickers.
Oh, shit. I meant to do that. I meant to be doing that. Oops. I'll get my dailies. I
Yep.
did my daily tidies in a little to the left, but I need to do
Desi, will you make it through the storm? Desi survives through the storm. Yeah. And I'm turning on my hacks so I can, you know, come down here and get through Steve, hopefully. Nope, Midget Monstrosity is gonna get through Steve
I died.
first. And get first place. Congrats. We lost Desi and Lady Rain. Dreams is hanging on back there, trying to
Darn.
come to safety. We'll see what happens.
I'm
Taking,
looking-
you're really taking your time, Dreams. Jeez.
I'm looking for the sunshine, right? I'm just waiting. for
Crawling,
sunshine.
crawling. A horsey! Polecatch!
You can't even tell that I have sit there.
Oh, Matthew's gonna steal the horsey.
So happy.
You know it. Call it. Matthew's gonna win the
Can we
horsey.
tell?
Well, you can, but only
Yeah.
if you
Cute!
want it out.
Love the boa
Yeah,
Pikachu!
I have a little, like, bandage thing on it.
Yeah.
Congrats, Midget
It's so
Monstrosity.
cool.
Congrats.
But yeah,
Finish
like,
the Grand
like a
Prix.
spin
Here we
bandage.
go.
yeah.
Drum rolls.
I know the one you mean.
But, like, it's one of those clear ones for acne
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I have the
Alright.
same thing.
First
or
person is
like
Midget
a-
Monstrosity. Second person is Dreamweaver.
Like a, yeah.
Third person is Desi's first place. Congratulations, Desi, on first place.
No, this one's to cover.
Congratulations,
shit.
Dreams.
Okay.
Congratulations, Midget Monstrosity. Congrats,
You
congrats.
made second place for the Grand Prix.
Yay, horsey.
Gonna love hearing my name
You made it. You
catch
made it on the podium.
I
love it.
told you. I told you
I love it.
Matthew was here and he's gonna catch that Pokemon. Pikachu's
so
and
see, the more that you
Dittos.
point it out,
Ugh.
the more that I noticed it. Stop doing it.
Let's see.
I know. I'm taking it off, to be honest.
Why?
So I'm gonna be washing my face later.
Alright. So I have a similar thing for like my nose because I don't have
Right.
any acne. But
Alright, next.
I have
Yeah,
on my
acne.
nose. So
Gonna do it, Grand
I
P.
have like,
Right? It's only because I Grand P instead of Grand.
the skin clears from my nose.
Oh,
Like,
this
doing
is
the
bad.
right job.
I need to remember.
What I've realized is that the sun does an amazing thing for my skin.
You know what? Let's
Like,
just make it 5
Till we had
Okay.
like the
pixels.
sunshine.
And
I have,
there
like,
you go.
Patches of
Yeah.
acne. And
Grace.
it's actually like an acne rash.
Day 13, you did it a little too soon, Dreams. A little too soon. And to try again in just a second. Okay, now you can do it.
Fucking don't. What?
Devil's Chaos! Exclamation play. The Glorious! Welcome, welcome, the Glorious JVV! Welcome to the street.
I don't know how
Hiya, hiya, hiya!
but my nose gets it. So I have like a skin patch for my nose specifically.
Yeah.
Can
I
I,
know what
try
that
and? It's not for blackheads, but it's just kind of
Alright,
like try and.
I should've hit
get rid
start
of
button.
ulcers.
Slacking.
So I have.
Alright,
so
let's
what
go.
the
Let's
like rash
mission play,
and stuff
guys!
is actually it's
Yeah,
called
I got the
rosacea.
Let's
Yeah.
get salty.
I got it under my eyes. However, the sunshine, best fucking thing for it.
Rosacea
Okay.
won't help my this. It's something else.
Well, when it was scorching sunshine,
Ah.
I didn't have that. I didn't have any issues with my nose. Didn't have any issues with my skin. It wasn't dry or anything of the sort. So I'm kind of thinking I need to just go to
Let's go,
somewhere
let's
that has like
go.
30-degree heat, and I'll be sorry.
20 seconds. 20 seconds
Wanna go
to
this
get
way?
your marble on the track if you're lurking and listening. Exclamation play.
Or the sunbed.
Exclamation play. Matthew played number 12, the Angry Bull. Dreams, did you play number 14? Is that what you did? Or 13 this time? Oh, 12 this time. Oh. Oh, both did 12.
I'm mixing shit up. That's
Lots of Angry Bulls on the track today. Lots of Angry
mixing shit
Bulls.
up. Trying to
Although
find
I
the
have some
food.
little chickadees. Chickadees are trying to take the lead. Oh, looking glorious. Taking the lead here. Let's check
Simmer
this
down.
out.
Simmer down.
I love the wings and the halo. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Jelly, love your marble.
Those wings and halo and that.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. They get them on the app. Gorgeous.
Do you know what? It doesn't matter because Dream's taking over with his
Ah.
lava body.
Boost? You trying to boost to get to the lead there, Matthew? You gonna do it? You gonna do it?
Come on,
Ah!
you got this. Hey, don't you get caught
Cheats,
on that
right?
shit.
That's all the wings and the halos. They're cheats. They're cheats, right? Yeah.
No. Oh, here, this is like a battle between fucking heaven and
Ranked
earth,
458.
Or heaven and
Congrats. That's awesome. Wins 161. Races 2,394 races this season.
I've just
Your
realised
current
this
energy
shit.
is 7 of 9.
Yeah, I dipped out.
I really hope it's not
Uh,
me talking
I
here. I
don't
talk
think
too
so.
much.
No.
Perfect.
Alright, guys.
I don't remember what he was saying about leaving.
You gonna
but
make
I
this
knew he was
jump?
gonna be leaving.
Matthew! James! Gonna make it!
I fucking
Green,
hope
come
so.
on! We already
Come on,
lost
Stallion.
Carly and
Come on,
Desi.
Stallion. Come on, Stallion.
No, I'm not gonna die.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live forever and ever and ever.
Like, why do I go down the channel that's got like the most bends on it? Like, come on. Even after the bends, like you see.
Pew. Oh, you went through the center.
Yeah.
Oh, you took the cheat path.
It's like,
Glorious, you
I'm
took
not
the cheat
center.
path.
I'm not the center. I'm the one to the right.
Oh, I followed you on your path. Look at that.
I've got to go through all sorts of. No, that's not me.
Matthew did the same thing.
I'm not putting on that channel.
GTS.
Literally, the coil that I have to go down is like a fucking kettle.
Yeah, you got stuck in the coil going down through all of them. A lot of us are skipping the coil.
Yeah, I'm like the only bug. that
You
literally
got-
landed
You
in
got
the
gypped.
kettle.
You had to get stuck in the coils.
Yeah, and even when I come out, I'm still having. to go
Right?
through,
GG, go, go, go. Oh, game's not over until you get past Steve. Oh, made it past Steve. Congrats, congrats. And let's see the finisher. Woohoo! I like it. Oh, that sounds cool too. Yeehaw! I like it, I like it.
Kimono's second, as per usual.
Yes, I'm second place. Followed by Matthew, the visionary. Oh,
Do you
come
know
on,
what's
come on.
funny? We once
And
saw
Lady
Dream.
Rain.
We once saw Dream, and I bet you a tenner that if you turn around and look, oh, I'm still at the same place or very similar place. Sorry. Yeah. Nice.
Congrats! Congratulations!
The glorious.
Alright, next map.
Matthew.
Rain says hi, Matthew.
What was that last time? 12, 13. Was it 13 last time?
Alright, now we are on the racing pen. Welcome guys to the racing pen. Join, start. Let's go.
So how was yours guys last week? Your weekend last week?
How many times are you gonna ask that?
It was crazy.
Felt like that.
Where did Michigan go?
I have no idea where he disappeared.
You just
He
went
ran
off.
away!
He might come back.
Did he?
Join 15. Nice.
Next time.
No, he didn't. He didn't go to the shadows.
Let's go, 19 seconds! Exclamation play! Oh, Mission Monstrosity made it! Mission Monstrosity made it. Will anyone else
But-
make it?
So, none of you's giving me an actual answer, even though I'm asking.
What?
You understand? How was your fucking weekend last weekend?
It's
You
okay.
didn't give me the answer. You're just like, oh. Let's go.
Maybe he didn't do anything that uniquely that he wanted to talk about.
I'm not asking.
I just had D&D, that's it. Wait. Oh.
Is that how we got into the topic of like the D&D?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, Lady Rain's leading the path.
Totally apologize.
Ooh, that'd make you sick in there. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I'll be good.
Congratulations, come on, Rain! Well, Dreams is catching up to Rain and passing Rain.
I want to win. So it's,
Followed by Desi.
am I
Oh, no.
winning? I'm fucking winning.
Glorious.
Let's go, son.
Yeah, you're winning for the
Let's
moment.
Go, son. Come on, make your dad proud.
Don't fall off the track, though.
You drop it like it's hot.
Dumb play button. Did you not hit play? Oh, you hit join! Oh no!
You got this.
You hit
Fucking drop
join
it like
instead
it's
of
hot.
play!
What the fuck are you doing, mate?
You
had
just
every
missed
opportunity
getting
to-
in, didn't you? You got timed out.
What?
Dang it. Hey, Desi died, Dreams died, Crowley died, Midget Monstrosity died. We're down to Rain and
Leave it. I'm so
Cat.
bored of
Cat just jumped off, but stayed.
You fucking knock me in the cunt.
Alright, you're gonna go to this thing in the center. Don't get shot out. Or actually, you gotta get shot out to.
What's the wee cannon in the middle? It just appeared.
You need to be on that to win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I love how
Yeah.
I'm circling it though.
yeah. See who gets shot out first. It's gonna be glorious. Oh!
Probably.
Glorious and Rain. Oh no, you got shot back onto the track though, Rain! Oh no! You guys shot back onto the track. It's gonna be glorious going down the hole and going for the win.
Ladies.
As long as they don't fall off.
So what you're telling me-
Congrats, congrats.
Go, you can go for the fucking.
I love that sound though. Yeehaw! Okay, now Rain and Kat are just playing around up here. Oh, they're coming in now. Okay.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There we go, there we go! Oh, Rain! Marbles is your new enemy! Oh, you got this, you got this. Congrats, congrats.
That's a cracking die.
Alright, let's go, next map.
Where am I sitting? I'm sitting a fucking 5th.
GG, yes.
Oh wait, we need to change this. We need to change this.
A leap to remember. Da 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 da.
Play.
Join.
Paste.
Exclamation play, guys, exclamation play!
Oh, let's go back to.
Oh, you got a helicopter when you come in too.
Let's-
Dang.
let's go
I need to add some stuff to mine. Why did I do poke catch right now? I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. There we go. We won't talk about it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 26 seconds, exclamation play. Welcome back, Michigan. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
He's back.
Oh, Matthew splashes Michigan. Yeah, see who I boop. Booped Pokemon community games. Splash Dreams. Lake Desi. Eh. This goes to Crowley. And then
Exclamation. What?
What?
Like, Kimono done that fucking splash.
oh jeez,
What the fuck did you do for that again?
crazy noises.
Exclamation splash.
Hugs myself. Oh,
Yeah, it's just exclamation point
I
slash.
thought
Oh,
it was like,
that's-
fucking, like it decides what.
it randomly selects a person,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I
and
type
if you
in
don't
exclamation-
consent to be selected, like you
Yeah,
are
splash,
upset that you
and
got
it just
selected, you
shows
can
back
run
in.
away. You can do exclamation run. Don't look that I'm in the lead. I don't know what's going on here. Crowley, Dreams,
Matthew,
Rain, Matthew, Glorious, Matthew is, and Glorious finally made it out of the thing. Go back down here to Michigan, spinning around in a circle with Cat. Let's see, who's it gonna be? Glorious,
It's gonna be me. It's gotta be me.
Matthew, Dreams. Crowley.
Well,
Oh!
I'm well on- I'm well
Michigan
on
just
it.
fell.
Existence. I'm
So
well
this
on
gun
it.
shoots people out of the gun. That's what's gonna happen. We lost Michigan. Rip Michigan.
It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me.
Everyone throwing water on me, right?
To you.
Making sure you're clean. Making sure your marble's all clean. Gotta clean your marble really good. Matthew!
Oh, come
Let's see dreams.
I can guarantee.
I died. Oh no. Cat died.
Fucking
Crowley
told you.
died.
Oh no! I fucking dropped on the edge.
Dreams, you still won. You still got first. It counted. It counted.
Well, that
GG,
fucking
GG. Results were Dreams, Lady Rain, Glorious, and Matthew. Matthew with 4th place. There you go. And yeah, you guys. You didn't die. You didn't rip. You didn't rip, Matthew. Michigan was so young. Oh, Michigan rip. That's what you were saying.
well that shit into existence, mate. It's gonna be great.
And you caught the Pokemon. Of course. course you did.
Who did?
Rain.
What?
Matthew's
What?
catching all our Pokemon.
Oh, from
It's okay.
Genshin.
No. Pokemon. I'm currently playing Genshin, yes.
Exclamation play, guys! Get your marble on the track! Exclamation play! Apparently I burnt my own butt.
Space. What are we doing?
Nine! Go, 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 go!
No, I don't think many people do number one.
I'm a Pokemon master, yes! It's you or Artist. Artist always wins too.
Yeah.
But you have no competition at the moment.
Oh, what?
Can't wait to finish the Genshin event tomorrow. Yeah. I hadn't started it.
Oh yeah, I have to do a thing with Jean before I can do the event. Oh, bless you.
Oh. Go, 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 go!
Why am I forced straight off the get-go? Come on, let's go, son. Come on, make your
Matthew
dad
taking the lead,
proud. Make your dad proud. Come on.
followed by Lady Rain, Dreams, Michigan, Desi, and
Make
Kat
your-
at the
make
end
your
of the
dad
pack.
proud. Make your dad proud. Come on, son.
Oh, saw somebody go. Lady Rain, look at you! Hitting those speed lines.
Come on, big
Gonna run
chap.
into the next blockade.
And then you got a speed boost.
Hit the tires. Desi and Matthew and everybody else catching back up.
You're just clearing the space for me.
Oh, Desi hits the speed
line.
lines first.
You're just clearing the space for me. Fucking fifth, though.
Michigan.
Come on.
Michigan
Aw.
says, don't
Let's
take
go,
me for
son.
granted, I'm
Let's
still
go,
in
son.
this.
Let's go, son.
Oh, Dreams
Wait,
is
wait,
taking the
wait,
lead
wait,
for
wait.
a second.
Come on, son.
Desi, Lady,
Come on,
oh. Cat squeezes through with her
You got
hacks.
this. Fuck them all. Come on, son.
It
Hell,
takes a
Mono.
huge lead.
Fucking hell, Kimono.
No, not for long though. You guys caught up. Oh, Matthew just jumped through the air to pass all of us.
Come on, son.
Oh, but Desi's like, no, it's gonna be me. Nope, Lady Ray's like, nope, it's me. That was actually a pretty fun track. Oh man, that was a fun track. I like that. I did go flying. I jumped over. Oh, that was a fun map. I agree. I like that nobody died either.
No cynical effort in that one.
Let's see. All right, enemy at the gates. Da-da-da-da-da.
Exclamation, play, space, whatever the fuck.
Oh, even complete with gargoyles.
Oh, we need something strong. We need something really strong.
Exclamation play.
Something
Exclamation
really solid,
play to
something
get your
renowned-
marble on the track.
Renowned to fuck shit up.
Wakey, wakey, wakey.
I don't ever go this number, so I'm gonna do that one.
Oh, it didn't like me. There we go. 40 seconds. Bonks. Making boops.
Who?
Boops dreams. Gonna bite somebody. Who am I gonna bite?
I thought for a minute there.
Probably gets a bite.
I've been close to
Ah,
finishing that
shift with
video.
Benjamin Straussy. No cat lady. I was trying to get a cat lady.
Nope,
What the fuck?
not the one I wanted either.
Here you go. You know you can run away after you shift.
That's too late.
So I ran away.
The
I ran away.
The focus is on the person who has got like the boops and he's got like the.
Oh, Jesus, the gates opened up. Oh, drawbridge. Oh my god, those things are gonna flip somebody. This looks like a dangerous map. We're in for some dangerous territory here.
Like it.
I mean, I already got I already got catapulted or something.
Come on, Dream.
Oh, there goes Dreams. He got catapulted.
You got this fucking. What? I'm on. I run. I just see myself.
Run!
Come on.
You're just with Michigan. You. I mean, all the names with the M's in chat gotta stick together. Just kidding. Yeah. Boost.
Yeah. No one like.
Well, I would turn on my hacks, but it's kind of late. Only 3 of us are alive. Benjamin Strosty, Lady Raid, and Matthew. Frozen Popsicle! Thank you for the follow! Welcome to the stream! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Watch out for the pickle!
I thought a lot of people liked it.
Everybody died! Monstrosity, are you gonna... You gonna destroy the enemy at the gates, cause the rest of us couldn't even make it to the gate. Apparently we don't even know how to make it to the gate.
But you're not through the gate though, you're not.
We all died through the first gate, but...
Oh, I thought the Heaven's Gate.
Alright, let's go, let's go.
Fucking midgets got it.
Yay, we have one person home dead. We all
Midgets
died.
got it.
Oh, you slow marble. Alright.
Yeah, midget.
Alright, grand finale. Here we go, here we go.
Dream on top.
Ready? Are you ready? You ready to see who it is?
Oh hell yeah. Let's fucking
Okay,
let's
alright.
do it.
Third place, Lady Rain.
Dreams on top.
Second place, KimonoKat. You probably are. No, the glorious. Oh! I'm gonna play the heavenly music. Oh, congratulations, making it on the podium.
I thought I was on top right
There we go. Congrats.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Sick. Really?
Ah.
I feel sick.
Alright guys, I hate that this is gonna be a short stream, but that's gonna be it guys. I'm gonna call it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. You don't have permission? No! It's cause of things and stuff. Because you don't have a sub at the moment. So, sounds or subs, but yeah. There you go. I burnt dreams. Then I'll give out some hugs. Glorious gets the hugs!
Even more incentive is join Corona.
Yeah, alright.
Then you get to enjoy all this stuff.
Let's try again. Should I run away, Matthew? Let's see. Alright, that's it though, guys.
Fucking running.
That's it. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you. I hope to see you guys again soon. Stay tuned. Follow me on social media to find out when I'm live next. Let's see. Yeah. Have a wonderful night, Mono. Thank you. If you're not following me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, somewhere, well, I don't give shoutouts that I'm going live on YouTube, of course, but in Discord I do. Take care, everyone. Thank you, you too. Have a wonderful night, Mono. Thank you, Mr. Mistressy. Okay, there's also my Discord link. If you prefer your shoutout notifications, I'm going live there. Thank you. What do you need? I need a cheesecake. Yes, a cheesecake. A big cheesecake. That's it. Can you help me with that? I want a cheesecake. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, thank you, Sixter, for hanging out. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Good night, all. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful time.